Have you ever had that feeling that your own mindset is the main thing holding you back? Well, that's the exact question Norman Vincent Peale dives into in his timeless classic, The Power of Positive Thinking. This book came out way back in 1952, and it's this amazing blend of psychology and spiritual wisdom. It offers some really practical ways to beat things like self-doubt, fear, and all that negativity. Peale's main message? It's simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Your thoughts literally shape your reality. And that idea that your thoughts shape your reality is the absolute foundation of his entire work. Peale argues that things like faith and confidence, they're not just some fuzzy feelings. No, he says they are the essential keys to overcoming real-world obstacles. And through things like mental discipline, prayer, and self-affirmation, he basically hands you a toolkit. It's designed to help you break free from those limiting beliefs you have about yourself and, actually go out and achieve your goals. So how are we going to unpack all this? Well, here's the game plan. We're going to start with the core premise, then dive deep into 7 key lessons from the book. After that, we'll look at how you can actually put these ideas into practice. We'll even touch on some of the criticism, just to get a balanced view. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the big takeaway. Sound good? Let's get into it. All right, first up, Section 1, A Guide to Your Mindset. This is where we get into the core premise of Peale's whole philosophy. So, Peale's philosophy really stands on 4 big interconnected pillars. First, it all starts with the belief that faith and confidence are your main tools for dealing with any obstacle. But to use those tools right, you need mental discipline. That's what helps you shatter those limiting beliefs. Then, he brings in prayer and self-affirmation, but not as some vague ideas. He sees them as practical, everyday tools that help you build that discipline. And what does all this lead to? It all supports that one central, super powerful idea, that your thoughts are actively creating the life you live. Okay, let's get to the heart of the book now, the 7 core lessons. Think of these as the real pillars of Peale's teachings. First lesson, and honestly, it's probably the most critical one, believe in yourself. Peale sees self-confidence as the absolute cornerstone of all success. So he suggests you start by visualizing your own success, before you even tackle a challenge. Then you reinforce that vision by repeating affirmations that build up your self-worth. And all the while, you're actively working to swap out that negative self-talk with beliefs that actually empower you. And Peale has this perfect way of putting it. Confidence is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what does he mean by that? Well, it's pretty simple. Your belief directly influences how you act, and your actions are what determine your results. So when you genuinely, truly believe you can succeed, you start acting in ways that make that success way more likely to happen. Okay, so building on that foundation of self-belief, lesson 2 is all about the power of faith and prayer. Peale sees a strong spiritual foundation as this incredible source of resilience, and he argues that prayer isn't something you just save for emergencies. It's a daily practice for building up your inner strength and getting some mental clarity. The real key here is to pray with conviction, and this part is crucial. You have to combine that faith with real-world, consistent effort. All right, so from faith, we move right into lesson 3, how to tackle worry and fear head-on. And Peale's approach here is super practical. He advises you to shift your focus away from the problems and onto the solutions. Use visualization to picture positive outcomes instead of getting stuck on worst-case scenarios. He also talks about managing anxiety with simple relaxation techniques like deep breathing, all while you keep working on replacing those fearful thoughts with positive ones. And now, with lesson 4, we get right to the core of the book's title, Actively Harnessing the Power of Positive Thinking. This is where you intentionally start to cultivate optimism. And how do you do that? Well, you start by curating your environment, surrounding yourself with positive, uplifting people. You practice gratitude every day, and you work to maintain a hopeful outlook, even when things are tough, because that mindset itself can actually help attract positive results into your life. Lesson 5 makes a really crucial point. Inner peace isn't some luxury. It's absolutely essential. And Peale suggests some really tangible ways to find it. Things like quieting your mind with meditation, or just spending time in nature to absorb its calming effects. And a big one, practicing forgiveness. He reminds us that letting go of resentment isn't really for the other person. It's all about achieving your own emotional freedom. And that internal peace? Well, it naturally extends outward in lesson 6, which is all about building strong relationships. This is pretty straightforward. It's about treating other people with kindness, empathy, and respect. It's about becoming a source of encouragement and support for the people in your life while also making a conscious effort to avoid negativity and toxic interactions. The whole goal is to radiate positivity, and in doing so, create a supportive environment for everyone. And finally, we've got Lesson 7, which is a bit of a reality check, and it's an important one. Positive thinking is not wishful dreaming. Peale is super clear about this. Optimism is totally useless unless it's backed up by real effort and persistence. So what does that mean? It means setting clear goals, actually working toward them with determination, and understanding that real progress comes from taking those small, consistent steps, not from just sitting around and waiting for some magical solution to appear.
Okay, so that's all the theory. Now, how about we put it into practice? This next section is all about the actionable steps you can start taking every single day.
Peale really boils it all down to a simple 6-step daily routine that's designed to completely rewire your mindset. And you can see it's a full cycle. It starts with those internal tools like affirmations and gratitude. Then it moves through your external choices like the people you hang out with. And it all culminates in achieving both inner peace and taking decisive outward action. But look, to really understand this philosophy, we have to look at it from all angles, right? So in this section, we're going to explore a more balanced perspective. And that includes some of the major criticisms of Peale's work. And this brings us right to the central debate, really. It's a question a lot of psychologists and readers have asked over the years. Is positive thinking really enough to solve our deepest problems? I mean, there's just no denying the book's massive influence. It's been praised for inspiring this optimistic, empowered mindset in millions of people, and for providing practical, actionable strategies. But it's definitely not without its critics. Some argue that it really oversimplifies complex mental health issues, basically suggesting that positive thinking alone just isn't enough for those really deep-seated struggles. And for some people, that strong emphasis on faith can feel a little alienating. Okay, so with that full picture in mind, let's get to our final takeaway and talk about the enduring legacy of this book. When you get right down to it, The Power of Positive Thinking is more than just a book. It's really a blueprint for a more fulfilling life. Peale's wisdom is a constant reminder that our thoughts have incredible power. And by embracing things like optimism, faith, and self-confidence, we really can overcome obstacles and achieve personal success. So whether you're looking for motivation or inner peace or just a totally fresh perspective, these lessons still really resonate today. By integrating these principles into your daily life, you can start to cultivate a mindset of resilience, of hope, and of success. Ultimately, Peale's teachings are this powerful reminder that positivity isn't just an attitude, it's a whole way of life.